Hey guys, it's Kim, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my experience with my tonsillectomy and adenoidectomy, and also to give you guys some tips to, survive the recovery, what to do beforehand, all that stuff. And basically, I actually wrote down my experiences were back when it happened, so that way I can make a video about it one day and help you guys to get through your tonsillectomy. Because I got like 2 surgeries in the same day, so. Okay. So I actually journaled all my experiences of what happened and everything. I know it's like 2 years late, but it's never too late. It's never too late to give my experience and to help you guys to cope with it. So basically what I recommend for the recovery is to make sure you have popsicles, make sure you don't drink anything acidic, make sure you avoid dairy like the plague because it produces mucus which can, pull in your stitches. Make sure you drink a lot of water because that'll help your stitches, and it'll also help to keep the mucus down, which you do not want to tug on your stitches. Also, another thing to do would be to avoid anything like pizzas, avoid anything solid for a while, just stick with soups. And since there's like nausea that can come from the medicine and other things, I'd make sure you have, something like soup, like I said, because not only is it good for your, your throat situation, but it's also good for your nausea. It's light, it's filling, and something you can eat. So basically what I did was I wrote down how I felt, what happened, different things like that, so that way I could help you guys with this. Day 1, after being checked in, I was required to do a urine sample shortly after they took my blood pressure and weight, which was 169 at the time. They changed me into a hospital gown, and you can't keep a bra on or anything like that if you're going to be getting surgery of that kind. You can only keep your underwear on, you can't keep anything on under the hospital gown, otherwise. They changed me into a hospital gown, and since I couldn't drink past midnight, which they will tell you, you can't have any, I think foods and drinks after midnight, because you don't want to get nauseous under anesthesia. Yeah, so since I couldn't drink past midnight, I couldn't go for the urine test, so they started me on the IV with fluids. Basically, if you cannot go to the bathroom to take the urine test, what they'll have you do is they'll put an IV in your arm. It doesn't hurt as bad as it sounds, and then they will feed you water through the IV, so that way you're able to go. It goes directly into your vein. What else? Not long after, my anesthesiologist asked questions, and they set up the monitor for my heart rate. 2 nurses walked in, and I said goodbye to my dad before being wheeled on a gurney into the operating room. They gave me another blanket because I was shaking in my legs and I was nervous, so I was shaking. Not really that bad. I was really scared about it for a while, but actually after it happened I was just like, wow, this was easy. But really, if you're kind of scared about it, it's understandable, but it's really not that big of a deal. So my doctor stepped in and they rolled me from the gurney to the hospital bed, and then the last thing I remembered was the blood pressure cuff being placed on my arm before waking up in the recovery room. So basically I think they asked me how I was doing, and I was like, I'm fine or something like that. The anesthesia was already being put in, or I was already going under anesthesia, so I didn't know anything more. I just was out after I answered the question. I didn't remember even really going down. I was just out, and then the next thing I know, I'm awake in the recovery room. I was extremely tired and could barely keep my eyes open. Then I was handed a popsicle to help relieve some of the throat pain, and I was also given apple juice with ice in it, and they're both amazingly soothing. After the nurses helped me change, I was put in a wheelchair and pushed the car where my dad pulled up front. So I think it's normal procedure for them to wheel you away in a wheelchair every time you are discharged from the hospital or being discharged, because especially if you're under anesthesia, you're still when you come out of it, you're groggy and you don't have all your faculties about you, so you have to be wheeled out. And they want to make sure that you don't collapse or something like that. But on the way home, I ate another popsicle and still was barely awake. After arriving home, I sat on the couch and drank a strawberry banana smoothie I got from McDonald's before taking a short nap in the middle of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So I was watching a movie and I kind of conked out. At this point, the pain was about a 5 or 6 since my medicine wasn't ready yet. So I had to wait for my medicine to be picked up from Walgreens, and so in the meantime I was I had a little bit of pain after surgery, but it wasn't as bad. It was, like I said, 5 or 6, so it wasn't too bad. After drinking water, I headed upstairs to use the bathroom, and to my horror, my menstrual began. So, that same day I had surgery, I also had to deal with that, so it was like, My tracker app was 100% accurate, and that was awful to be dealing with this and my recovery at the same time. Anyway, after getting cleaned up, I attempted to lie down in my bed as flat as possible to no avail. I had a lot of mucus that was coming up, and when I tried to spit it out, I couldn't because it felt like my stitches might come out too early. So from that point on, I decided to just drink water whenever I felt that come up, and it thinned it out, so it wasn't like tugging on my stitches or anything. This is due to my adenoid removal to help with the sleep apnea. So I got adenoids out along with tonsils to help me with my disruptive sleep patterns from then. While waiting for my meds to be ready, Dad gave me liquid Tylenol, which helped a tad. Thankfully, it wasn't long before he began administering medicine from a syringe. One was nasty and came from an orange bottle. It's called hydrocod acetaminophen. It tasted like Robitussin, which was the pain medicine, and the next was an antibiotic, amoxicillin, that tasted like bubblegum, which was really good, by the way. The first is given to me every 4 to 6 hours, and the antibiotic twice a day. My dad ensured I had water and gave me a dry erase board because whenever I spoke, it came out gargled and low. You'll find that maybe when you talk, that your voice is gonna sound like really garbled. It's gonna sound like you're gargling with something. And also, you'll find that you're talking very quietly, like you feel like you can't really speak that loudly. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Make sure you have either a notepad, a dry erase board, or something to write on, because you most likely will not want to talk, or you can't exactly talk that well. I have been coughing a lot, so I have cough meds, Bromfed DM syrup, that he also picked up for me. I went in and out of sleep throughout the day due to the stitches situation. The stitches feel like there's something in the back of your throat every time you swallow, and tastes like plastic. So every time you swallow, you will feel your stitches. It's not like painful or anything, it's just you'll know something's there. I noticed around 9 p.m. it became painful to swallow, so I drank a smoothie my dad brought me from Burger King and had a popsicle. So around 9, it was starting to, I started to have pain when I would swallow or whatever, so I had to be on top of that. Day 2, I find myself falling asleep a lot more than I did on day 1. It now hurts to talk. Before, it was just restricted. Now it's both. Dun dun dun. I have been coughing a lot, so I did take cough medicine. However, since I hadn't really eaten and the medicine had a narcotic in it, I felt extremely woozy standing up and almost threw up. So make sure you eat, even if you don't feel like it, because the medicine can make you like oof. But once I prayed and drank some water, lied down and drank my soup, my mom handed me, the feeling passed. I especially don't want to throw up at the risk of bursting my stitches. Most of the day I was asleep, drinking water, some Gatorade, some sherbet soup, and applesauce. I also noticed I lost some weight because my bracelet is slightly looser on my wrist, and I was talking about my hospital bracelet. I rated my pain before pain medicine about 6 to 7, especially when it came to swallowing. Day 3. Right now I slept some more, and before my next dosage of pain meds, I feel it's on the verge of a 6 whenever I swallow. It isn't as bad as day 2 at the moment. Later in the day, the pain when I swallowed became a 7, and I had to force myself to take omeprazole, no matter how much it hurt. Yeah. So I have omeprazole for my heartburn and everything, so I have to take that. This is to prevent acid reflux and heartburn, yeah. I couldn't get chicken noodle soup because the noodles were too much for me today. So I couldn't really consume noodles because it was like too difficult. Day 4, my pain is now an 8, and I feel tired still, although not as tired as the days before. I still want to sleep most of the day. Hiccuping and burping have caused some of the worst sensations, so make sure you take care of those issues before they become out of control. So make sure you don't drink anything that's going to make you burp. Make sure you don't, if you have hiccups, take care of them immediately. Drink water or it'll be really uncomfortable. I also had to start a Miralax because pain medicine is constipating, and they want you to take a laxative of some sort to ensure you don't get locked up. So make sure you also see Miralax is easy to take because it's something like a powder you can put in your drink, and it's a laxative. So if you do have constipation from the medicine, if you have that from the medicine, then you can also take that. Day 5. My throat pain is still ranging between a 7 and an 8, and I still find it difficult to swallow. I believe scabs are beginning to form due to the taste in my mouth. You do get like a taste. Talking is still quite the strain, and I'd rather not talk altogether. I almost finished all my pain medicine, and I'm starting on ibuprofen tomorrow. Day 6. I'm in a lot of pain with swallowing and talking, but I'll try to rest anyway. The pain is close to being a 9. Slept 5 hours today after taking medicine. I managed to eat some mashed potatoes after taking meds. My pain is a 9. It feels like my throat is being ripped open every time I speak or open my mouth too wide. It hurts to even eat applesauce or popsicles. It stung to eat pancakes and mashed potatoes. I tried ripping up a piece of my mom's burger and eating it, and it was one of the worst pains I had experienced in my throat, teeth, and cheeks. It's different for every person, it might not be so bad for you. But for day 6 for me, it was just like, oh my gosh. Every time I did this, open my mouth too wide, or I would yawn. I don't know if I got to that point yet, but every time I would yawn, it was like it felt like it was being ripped open. It was horrible. So I would make sure, if you can, avoid yawning, and also avoid burping, hiccuping, anything that's really going to exacerbate it. Day 7. I lost 4 pounds. I went from 169 to 165. I had a lot of tooth, throat, and cheek pain today. Scabs feel like they are loosening. Pain hit a 9.5. I almost felt like passing out from the toothache and excruciating sore throat in the same instance. I ate some pie, ramen, popsicles, took Miralax and Public sweet tea, and drank 2 to 3 bottles of water today. Day 7 was the worst for me. Day 8, throat still excruciating. I ate donuts and it hurt way too much, so I took the cough and pain medicine so I could sleep and get a break from pain. Popsicles hurt as well. Day 9, not as bad as day 8, but I still can't eat, so the only food I had today was soup and a popsicle. Day 10, after pain meds, my throat feels better. I finished my antibiotic today, and I'm eating a popsicle. I now weigh 162, so I lost 3 more pounds. I was able to eat all 3 pancakes this time, even though there was discomfort, and I also ate applesauce. Day 11, I believe I felt another scab fall off. I was able to eat 2 bowls of SpaghettiOs and ice cream. So, day 11, I forgot to mention, your scabs will fall off, so, you'll actually notice. You'll either spit it out or it'll just, come off on its own. Day 12, tried eating pizza and it hurt. A lot of scabs fell off, and I ate a bowl of SpaghettiOs. I was coughing a lot when I talked. Day 13, I've been coughing all day, and it's still excruciating to yawn. I tried eating pizza again for dinner, and it burned my throat, as did gum. Although I should mention it was mint flavored gum, which I'm allergic to. I was finally able to eat pie without pain, and also had SpaghettiOs for lunch. My mom decided to start weaning me off the meds to start using regular medicine like Walitussin and Motrin for coughing and pain. I had 2 Gatorades without any stinging sensation this time. Last day of my recovery, which is the day 14, 2 weeks, is now my last documented day of post-op recovery, and I'm now able to start exercising again. By the way, they will tell you to be careful about exercising when you first get done with surgery. I forgot. No diving board or drinking with a straw for another week. You cannot drink with a straw throughout the whole recovery, and the week after your recovery of 2 weeks, you should not drink out of a straw. They'll tell you that too. My post-op appointment is on Wednesday, August 20th. The scabs are choking me as they're trying to fall off, so I recommend gargling with salt water and drinking water to make it less painful and irritating. I had pancakes just fine, I had pizza without issues, and barbecue wings with no problems. However, I find myself extremely lethargic and don't want to do much. So that was the whole 2 weeks of recovery, and it wasn't that bad, honestly. It wasn't that bad. When you get past the worst parts of it, it starts to get easier to deal with the rest of it, and eventually you'll be able to do normal things again like I'm doing now. 2 years later, I'm alive, so you're gonna be fine. I do rest a lot, drink a lot of water, eat enough that you can eat, and you'll do fine. Anyway, I hope you guys took something away from this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye guys, and smiles all around.